My intro got ruined. Apologies for everyone. But we're here, Arsenal Porto in the Champions League. I've got Laurie, I've got Luke, I've got Turkish. What I was saying, if you didn't hear anything in the intro, right? Is that what I'm being told? Essentially, the round of 16, the knockout, it's back. And you know what? I think I said this last week when the Champions League crept back. It sort of crept up on us last week when Man City returned to action and Real Madrid played as well. And I was like, oh, we're part of this. It's been a while since we have been. We've got this next to us. I vow not to touch it for obvious reasons. But, you know, if things go well, maybe one day we'll lift it. Turkish, we're back in the Champions League, my friend.
Yeah, man. We should never have been out of the competition. A club like Arsenal, the size of the club, the history of the club, like we've gone through the mud. But something I've always said towards the end of Wenger's era is, you know, I don't want to be back in the Champions League until we're ready to be back in the Champions League. It's not about making up numbers. Top 4 isn't a trophy, you know. So when people celebrate top 4 and opposition fans use it as some sort of a, you know, how we made top 4. If you don't do nothing in the Champions League the next year, if you go out in the group stages, if you just, you know, fail to live up to any expectation, it means nothing. Yeah. You know, these nights mean everything. It's about getting the job done and being a part of history, because Arsenal have never won it. You know, I'm not saying this is our year, but what I'm saying is the first time Arsenal win it, if we are to ever win it, do you know what that does to these players, to those players that do it? Yeah. So they, you know, there's something there for them to grab, something that Henry didn't grab at us, something that Adams didn't grab, Vieira, all of these legends that I hold so highly. Yeah. Champions League eluded us during that era. And it's all come a bit full circle for you personally, because your first time doing a fan cam on AFTV, having your say, came the last time we played in the round of 16. We all know how that went. But you very much, like, you know, you've been speaking a lot about the club up until this point. Like, it's taken a long time to get back to this. When we fell out the Champions League, I'm going to hold my hands up. And in hindsight, I now know this was the wrong way to think about it. But at the time, I thought, good. Like, we need a year out of it. We need, because we're not competing, we need a year to just get our act together. We didn't. And actually, we ended up falling out of the Europa League. And I went, you know what, we'll do well out of this competition as well. Conference League, where is it? And actually, I actually think we have severely underachieved in the Europa League as well. What? Two semi-finals?
And one final.
And one final.
Baku,
That's crap.
2 last 16 finishes.
That's really, really poor.
And a year out.
I mean, in 5 years of it, we should have, in my opinion, won it at least once. But we didn't.
That was our level. That's what I said when we got into it. At least maybe we can win it, and we didn't manage to do that.
Luke.
You're bang on. No, you're bang on. That's exactly where we. Thank you. It's where we probably deserve to be honest, at that point. But yeah, it's taken a while to build to get back into this, but I'm buzzing. Yeah, it's been so long. I used to get together with my friends and watch the Champions League, Arsenal in it, and it's been so long. Yeah, very excited to be back, to be honest. Very excited.
What are we saying, that Arsenal are ready now?
Yeah. I think we are. I don't know. To win it, we'll see. Obviously, a lot of these players haven't
to be competitive. To have a real go.
You're saying, like, a lot of these players haven't played in it at all. Yeah. And there's so many people so many players in that team that have never played in it. So I think it matters big time. Declan Rice knows what it means to play in big games in Europe. We've obviously spread amongst there some winners, Jorginho and whatnot. But yeah, the rest of that team, no one's played in it. So I think they'll know what it means for sure. But yeah.
Do you guys think? Come to you for this, Laurie, as well. Okay, we all know before trolls in the comments start saying, "Oh, you've never won the Champions League." We know. But do you think we're performing at a level where if we won it this year, it would be a major surprise? I mean, it would be a major surprise in that we haven't won a major trophy, like the major, I'm talking Premier League and FA Cup. Sorry, not Premier League and Champions League. We haven't won the Premier League since 2004. We've never won the Champions League. So from that perspective, it would be a surprise. But would it be a surprise if this team, the way they're playing, go really far, if not win this? Like, is that a major upset in the competition if Arsenal were to do it?
That's a good question. I think it would be a major surprise, but not because of the way we're playing right now. It's just that, I mean, if you look at Arsenal's history in Europe, you guys have said it, we got to be honest, it's pretty poor in it. I think we've won 2 trophies in Europe in our history. I think one was in 1970, the Inter-Cities Cup or something like that, and then 1994, I think it won the Cup Winners' Cup. So for a club like Arsenal to only have won those 2 competitions, to have performed, let's face it, lacklusterly in the Europa League. And then we come across this barrier where we're failing to get out of the last 16 of the Champions League for year on year, 6-7 years. So we've got to be honest and say, I reckon in Europe is poor. However, fast forward to today, if you look at the way we're playing, and then if you look at Europe across the continent, the teams that you would normally consider to be like nailed on to get there. You look at teams like Bayern, who I picked to win the Champions League at the start of the tournament. They're not playing that well. Real Madrid are not overly impressive. So I say that to say, if we continue at our current rate, we're currently in a rich vein of form, we should do well. You know what I mean? I don't think there's no one out there that should frighten Arsenal. Don't get me wrong, there's teams like City, Bayern, Real Madrid, even Porto tonight have to be respected. But it would not be a shocker if we went really far in this tournament to me, because we do have the talent, we do have the players, and we are playing well enough. I mean, and if we do get there, the final is in London, you know what I mean? So it's a real chance. So yeah,
I agree with that. We do have a poll going with 88% saying that Arsenal will win tonight, 7% saying a draw, 5% going for Porto. We do need to have and I'm not saying that it's fine to think Arsenal win tonight. I've predicted Arsenal to win tonight. That's not an arrogant thing to say. But as a club, as a fan base, the players out there, we're going to need to show a degree of humility for the competition. There is something about the Champions League that I find is unquantifiable. Real Madrid have won 5 Champions Leagues in the last 10 years. I've not always thought Madrid were the best team in the years they won those. In fact, maybe 2 or 3 of them I've thought they were the best team that year. But there's something about heritage and know-how and an expectation and a standard and all these things and having history. And Arsenal don't have history in Europe. Not just what we're talking about in the Champions League, but it's like we just mentioned, falling so short in the Europa League. I'm expecting Liverpool to win this year's Europa League, not just because I think they're the best team in it, but because they just know how to navigate Europe. And Porto, they have been in these knockout rounds of the Champions League a lot. 20 years ago, not almost to the day, but 20 years ago this season, they won it with Jose Mourinho. So we're going to have to show, what's the word? We can't be naive, essentially. We can't
We have to show respect and some humility, the fact that, I mean, we've played, I think, Porto 6 times in this competition. We've not beaten them away once.
I think with the team we beat the last time we went through the round of 16, it was against Porto.
Yeah.
2009.
So, our history is not great, but these, as Turkish was saying, these players now, they weren't around in those times. They have an opportunity tonight to put that right, and I fully expect them to do. I don't expect them to lose tonight.
I was going to say we're a big club, but we're not a big team. We're certainly not in Europe. This team, especially, and if you were to look at another league and you look at a team that might have finished 8th for 2 seasons, and then all of a sudden is back in the Champions League. To touch on the surprise thing, it probably would be a shock if a team that had finished 8th back to back in another league, and then all of a sudden have a weird, a title run, and then get back into Europe after 8 years out, were to go on to win it. I think it would be a shock.
I want us to go at them though. I don't know about this humility thing. I get it, especially us in Europe. We've seen us, go out to Sporting, go out to Olympiacos, go out to level of opposition that you'd expect us to go through against. But now, really and truly, it was a favourable tie we got, I think, in Porto, and I want us to get the job done in 1. I'll be honest.
It's a goals game.
Get the job done in 1.
Yeah, we have to. We got to score.
Our form is good. We're scoring goals away from home. We've been great for over a year now. I feel like it's there for
there's a thin line between confidence and arrogance and being overconfident. I think you saying we should go there and get it done in 1, to me, that speaks with respect. That's a little bit on the arrogant side. I think we need to show Porto some respect, because let's face it, what happened the last time we can't against Portuguese opposition, and you and me were saying similar things. We got upended by Sporting, a team that we should have beaten.
Finally, we rotated a lot in Europa League, even in knockout stages. Sometimes the team was, rotated. Last season it was like that against Sporting. The Champions League this time round, we're going strong. And first half of the season, we was better in Europe than we was in the league in terms of all-round performances. We found the balance in Europe a lot quicker than we did in the league, because we've only just found it. So I think that expectation for me is fair. I'm not saying disrespect Porto, because it's not about disrespect. The heritage thing, for me, if it's not Real Madrid or Liverpool, it means nothing.
Yeah, I'm not saying because they've
really,
made...
you say that, yeah? Heritage means nothing.
No,
Is that what you're saying?
Heritage. The moment that whistle goes for the first kick of the ball, what does heritage mean on that pitch?
No, okay, so...
Real Madrid and Liverpool, I'll give it because there's something about
all
those
about
two
buying.
clubs. What?
No.
No, but you know what? Okay, I agree with you. It's
AC Milan
it doesn't
heritage,
exist,
but
but-
where
I know,
are
but
they?
what I'm saying is, where do you get that sense of like that you're just going to stride in? That we've not done it in Europe ourselves.
I'm not saying we're going to. What I'm saying
we
is,
should.
yeah, we should. I feel like we
Yeah,
should.
it should.
I feel like let's not
But then
big
you
up
might have to
Porto
ask
now
yourself,
to be
why
some
haven't we?
sort of
Is it that
European
attitude we have?
powerhouse.
There is something about clubs, I'm not even saying Porto is necessarily this, but clubs that are just used to navigating two-legged affairs and knowing that when that full-time whistle goes, that's actually half the job done. I don't think Arsenal have ever looked that good in Europe to a point where the best we've looked at navigating has been Unai Emery in that Europa League run, where actually did feel like we knew what we were doing. All right, we lost 3-1 at Rennes, but we got the away goal, we knew what to do, start fast at the Emirates, things like that. It doesn't always feel like we have known what to do. And I look at, you mentioned AC Milan, they knocked out Spurs last year. I watched that game and I thought, neither side looked good here. But AC Milan just felt like they just got the job done at home,
You know why
defended
that
really
was?
well away, kept the clean sheet.
Because they've got the tactics right.
Well, you think tactically
I
is
think
where it
in
comes
Europe,
through.
the big difference is the tactical nuances that make it different.
Do you think over 180 minutes of football, the tactical nuances that the managers might deploy make a bigger difference because there's just a bigger pool of football to...
I think when you're playing a team over 2 games, and let's face it, they would have been analysing each other before the first game. When you're playing a team over 2 games, you know them quite intimately and you know how to stop them from playing. It becomes a bit more of a tactical chess match rather than a one-off game. So, you know.
It's changed as well since the away goal went away, because it would have been so different the way you approach an away game. Without that now, you still want to get the job done in the first leg. I see what Turkish is saying in that sense. Like, it's a goals game. We get 3 goals tonight. We're bringing back a really good result to the Emirates. And I felt like for years in that round of 16, sort of waning years of Wenger, was just the first leg we'd not really do enough, and then we'd have a really tough battle in the second leg, and then we'd almost do it. And I was like, just for a fair few years there, just fed up of going out to like.
But to be fair, since Wenger's, nothing's changed. None of the other managers have made any impression in Europe.
I just think there's
Apart from
there's something about, it might just be the nature of cup football, because it is cup football. There's 2 legs, but with cup football comes a degree of luck. I'm not saying obviously you've got to be a bloody brilliant side, but I look at Barcelona, who were immense for a good just shy of a decade maybe, and they won it 2009, 11 and 15. Like, it's only 3 times. Now, I'm not only 3, right? I'd do anything for 1. But as good as they were, the players they had, Man City, they only won it for the first time last summer. But they've been one of the best teams, if not the best team on the planet for the last, probably since Pep Guardiola walked in. They've only got 1 to their name. Like, Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool, 3 finals, 1. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, there's something I can't quantify about this competition that just makes me go, yeah, on paper, in form, league table, whatever it might be, we are better than Porto. But Arsenal need to just keep this kind of like, I don't know what it is. You said maybe not the word humility, I agree with you, but maybe awareness. Maybe just if things aren't going right, if we find ourselves in the first 30 minutes really struggling to get into a flow, the message got to be, get to half-time 0-0. If you're getting to the 70th minute and you're not finding that goal, just, all right, we'll get it done at home. Like, don't do something stupid that finds yourself 2-0 down after 90 minutes in the first leg, because you've actually not been able to deal with the occasion, you've been sort of thrown off. Your plan A's not worked, and then you're on the back foot come the Emirates tie. But obviously we're hoping that it's the opposite. Arsenal do find their football, they do play the way they've been playing the last few away games, and they get this done in the first leg. Yeah.
It is hard to quantify, isn't it? If you've got 10 minutes left of a Premier League game and really we need a goal, you'd forgive Arsenal for going for it and conceding. But it's different if you know you've got another leg. But it is still a goals game. Like, hopefully, we've scored so many in the last few games, hoping that we score a fair few
equipped,
tonight.
I think.
Yeah.
I think generally, if you look at Champions League winners, they tend to be sides that control games.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
They, you know, I think Real Madrid have been the exception to that rule a couple of times where, you know, they've got away with some
chaos,
some chaos
Complete
in the
chaos.
last 5-6 minutes of games to get through a couple of rounds. But generally, the winners of the competitions tend to have control. And one thing under Wenger, listen, legend, but he was never a guy that he did seek control of games, but there was also a lot of freedom in there, and it left us susceptible. Whereas Arteta's brought in the controlling side of things this season on top of the attacking side last season.
Sure.
Now coupled up together in this calendar year, it looks like we're entering a great, you know, run of form. And I don't expect Porto to be a team that, if this run of form is to be believed, and you know this is, you know, we're going into a title race, and then we should just go, you know, get rid of Porto easy.
Well, Cannon,
That's what should happen.
Cannon Confidential agrees with you. He says, calling it 2-0 win, masterclass for Martinelli. Jorge says, always a first time for everything. I think he might be talking about us winning it. Sia says, weak league form, Porto will fall tonight hard. I hope you are right. We've got a poll going, does Jorginho start tonight? And look, in Europe, the 11 sometimes comes out really early, so we'll keep an eye if it does drop a little bit earlier than normal. We are expecting it at 7 p.m. UK time. A few other results coming in. Foxy says a 1-1. CJ Brown says a 3-1 Arsenal win. Okay. Arteta, the 11. Very easy to just go with the 11 that's been winning games. You know, it's 11-0 record on the road in the last 2 games. If you went with that, I'm not going to complain. Of course I'm not. How could I blame him when we've been doing so well? But is there a temptation to mix it up, Laurie? I'm going to go to you first. Jorginho is the big question. And then also rumours that, not rumours, reports. We know that Partey's trained, Fabio Vieira's trained, just ahead of playing his former club. What would you look at in terms of the 11?
Well, ask yourself this. If we were playing a Premiership game, a top Premiership club, and the likes of Partey, Vieira and people like Jorginho and 1 or 2 others that have not featured, have been training, would you say, OK, we're going to en masse play them this week? You wouldn't, would you? You have to respect the opposition. To expect those guys to just come in, hit the ground running, I think that would be foolhardy. I think you might make 1 or 2 changes, but logic dictates you keep with the same team. Yeah. I totally disagree with Turkish. This notion that we're just going to walk up at Porto Stadium. No, you just said that we're going to beat them easy.
Okay, so are you disagreeing with me saying or thinking we should get the job
You said
done?
we should win easy, and I laughed out loud when you said that.
Why?
To me, I disagree.
Well, like, how much different? Like, if Porto was in our group, we would be saying 6 points. We would be saying that's what we're going for. All of a sudden, it's a knockout tie. Because what's the real difference with Porto, PSV, and Sevilla? In fact, I'd say Sevilla is probably the most, like, going into the Champions League, I'd probably think Sevilla is the most difficult of the lot.
I would agree. I would agree with you that
we faced in our group stage, and in the group stage, we all expected 6 wins.
Yeah.
So what happened? Why now all of a sudden? Is it the pressure of the?
Yes. It's exactly that.
Okay.
Now, what I'm saying is, we have not shown in our previous iterations in Europe that we are that team that we can just walk into Porto and say, yeah, we're Arsenal. You're going to roll over and we're going to submit you and tie. You said it earlier. Get it done. Get the tie done tonight. Now, if you're right, I'll hold my hands up and say, yeah, cool, you got it right. But I don't suspect that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a difficult game. And I just don't think that we can just... I don't know what the other guys think, but I just think it's a foolhardy approach. I think that's that's born of arrogance to just walk out there and expect
us to walk over them. I just want us to approach
it
like
of course,
we're going to.
We all want to win. But what I'm saying is, if you think we're just going to go out there because we've got these shirts on with the Arsenal badge and say, yeah, man, easy work. No.
If we win this game by a single goal, I'll be absolutely delighted.
Yeah, of course we will.
Absolutely.
But even then, the tie's not over.
No, exactly. But
Turkish said, will you get it done tonight? That's what he said.
Yeah, which I assume is like a 3-0 win.
Wouldn't a draw disappoint you?
Yeah, it would.
But that's the fine line we're talking about.
Yeah.
Winning by a goal, you'd take it, but a draw would disappoint. That means you expect to win. Because if a draw disappoints, would you be disappointed in a draw? Of course.
No, I wouldn't. No.
Why?
Because if you take a draw back to Arsenal, that means you're in pole position to win the tie.
Yeah, but again,
if the dynamics of the draw,
you talked about our record in Europe. Now let's at home in knockout ties in the Europa League. At times that's cost us.
Yeah, we took a draw back against Sporting last.
And Olympiacos wasn't it at Emirates?
that was worse.
Yeah,
We actually won that. We won 1-0 away and ended up losing 2-1 at home.
Again, there's history of that as well. So I'm just, I'm just saying.
You said yourself, City, all-conquering City, known as the best team in the world for years now. They only just won the Champions League last year, and even that, I remember watching the final. It wasn't one-way traffic. They had to work for that.
Yeah, but we've also got examples of Chelsea, the way they won it, or Porto, the way they won it, or Dortmund in '97. Like sometimes favourites don't win it, and I don't think Arsenal are ever going to be at favourites. We're not that club.
But I just want to point out that Porto's heritage in Europe. Porto's heritage in Europe is actually better than ours.
Yeah, I get that.
And that's been accomplished over many years. You don't just get that. There's a reason for that happening. And I'm suggesting that one of the reasons for that is that tactically in Europe, it's different. And I think sometimes that's found us out a little bit.
Do you think our style this season is more suited to Champions League football? I asked the question, it might have been forever Arsenal, but we seem to be playing a numbers game. If you have enough field tilt, if you have enough shots, if you have enough possession, you're more likely to win the game. Now we know in football, it doesn't really work like that. But maybe over 180 minutes rather than 90, it does work a little bit more like that. It is, okay, you can have a game against West Ham at home where you have 30 shots, you never put in the back of the net, they put 2 in. But as we saw, you play them again, you play them a similar way, bam, we slap 6 in. Is our style of football to, and I agree, we were adding the fluidity a little bit more. Post-Dubai, Arsenal play some magnificent football, so I want to take that from them. But we seem to be about controlling every facet of the game, not just free flow and go do your thing, you're going to blow them away. And I wonder whether it's a little bit more suited for Champions League action this year than perhaps we were last season, even for
I would agree with that. I think I'm very interested to see how the two teams set up tonight, because Arsenal, we know, a possession-based team, 4-3-3, we like to control the ball, we like to press from the front. I understand that Porto like to play 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1, and they like to press from the front. I would imagine that they'll be quite happy for us to have a lot of the ball, and then we have to try and break them down, which is something that we've been used to now.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that before Christmas, we were struggling to break teams down. Lo and behold, we go on a trip to Dubai, whatever they spoke about, whatever they did over there, they obviously spoke about it, worked out, we need to do more shots, we need to be a bit more innovative. They've come back, goals galore. So it'll be very interesting to see how we go tonight. Luke?
I think we haven't seen what Arteta can do in the last 16 Champions League. So we actually don't know.
We literally knockouts.
And we've been out of it for so long. I don't know what our mindset is anymore. Anyway, I think teams like Porto, a lot of European teams, their season will focus around getting into the Champions League again, and the Champions League, a good Champions League run, being an essential part of their season. And that used to be for us, but it's been so long since we've even been in it. I have no idea what he's going to do tonight or what.
I'm excited. I'm really excited to see how the players step up. I'm not just excited because it's a chance to progress. I'm really just intrigued to see what Arteta does with the 11, how the players look. Do they rise to this level? Bukayo Saka, I did a video on it. He has done everything from playing World Cups to Euros finals to winning England Player of the Year 22, 23, scored against all the big six for Arsenal, been part of a title race team. But the last thing that people are throwing at him is, we'll do it in the Champions League when your team needs you most. And people are now looking at him to perform at this stage. Martin Odegaard, who for me has been pure class in the last few games. He's been running the show. Does he run this show tonight? I'm really interested. Gabriel Saliba, it feels like you can't knock them at the moment. Will they get worked hard in a different kind of occasion? Because Lon's away, I thought we looked really ropey. So I'm really interested to see how Arsenal deal with this occasion.
Yeah, we've found Fountain, Odegaard dropping a bit deeper. We are controlling games a lot better, but I don't know, I do think we've got a lot more balance to this team, especially since the last time we were in the Champions League. It always felt like one year we'd have quite a good defence but couldn't score, and then we'd be banging in goals but leaking them as well. I think we've got a lot more balance to the team. So yeah, I'm intrigued by the starting 11, but I think defensively we're so much better. I think we're not going to change the lineup too much defensively.
Everyone's talking about the Saka thing, Rio and the play, and Arsenal fans. Listen, World Cup and Champions League knockout stages make world-class players. Yeah, that is one of the metrics, in my opinion. You got to be doing it in the knockout stages of Champions League and or World Cups. you look at every icon in football, they've got big moments in both those competitions in the knockout stages. So now we're here, you know. Saka's been doing it for England, you know. It's now time to continue what he started in the group stages, because he has started off his Champions League career quite strongly when you look at his numbers. Yeah. So continue it now, and Saliba, same thing, Declan Rice, same thing. There's a lot of candidates for discussions at the moment, but we are now in a competition at a stage where this is what can define that discussion, define that, you know, argument.
Yep.
This whole world-class debate is so subjective, because, you know, at the end of the day, there's no hard and fast definition as to what world-class is. And I agree with you guys. Saka's proven it.
He's got the caliber. He's got the caliber.
He steps up at every level. Yeah. So to me, I think he's clearly world-class to me.
We've got some stats around the game. So the last time Arsenal got past the round of 16 in the Champions League, they did so beating Porto 6-2 on aggregate in the 2009-2010 campaign. We actually got to the semi-finals that year, knocked out by Manchester United, and we actually lost the away tie 2-1. I remember Fabianski having a bit of a mare in that game, but 5-0 at the Emirates. That's not how I want it to go this time. I'd much rather it went 2-0 and 2-0. Okay, I don't need anything fancy. Don't need any 5-0 wins at the Emirates to get it sealed. Just do the job away and then seal it at home. No player's been involved in more Champions League goals this season than Arsenal's Bukayo Saka, as you mentioned, 3 goals and 4 assists. We do have a poll going as well with people. Well, we asked if Jorginho should start. 69% of people have said yes, he should. We're going to find out in 2 minutes whether he does. And we have some super chats. Apologies, they've all been pouring in. I've only just got to them, so let me give them a read now. Day Kim says Porto pitch is much bigger than most pitches. He's going for 2-1 FCP, so I think he's backing Porto to win. Joe says agree with Turkish. Anyway, the Champions League is back. Come on. Idris says, trust me, Arteta's unlocked this team's potential. I really hope you're right. Sharon says, a draw doesn't necessarily mean we're in pole position to win the tie. Our away form is better, so I think we could get it done tonight. Fair point. And Lewis has just sent in a super chat without any text, but thank you very much for your support, Lewis. Really appreciate it. Any just final quick changes to the 11 that anyone's expecting? No surprise that could happen.
I'm not expecting wholesale changes.
Ramsdale for Raya. By the way, no.
I think Jorginho would be the only real change I could potentially see. As
would Havertz move up front?
Yeah, probably, which would mean Trossard as well. Probably.
I could weirdly see him dropping Martinelli and playing Trossard left, Havertz up top, and Jorginho midfield. I know that's a shake-up of a lot of positions, but I weirdly think he could do that just for an element of experience, control, away from home, first leg. But I would let Martinelli loose in the Champions League. I think he's played some of his best football for us in the Champions League this season. More so, he seems to have been more at it in these games than he has been on a regular basis in the Premier League. But
well, I mean, if Martinelli does play and he can isolate Pepe, who is 40, turning 41 soon, well, then you would imagine he'd be able to get some mileage out of that. But
they've got some good players.
They have.
Although Taremi could be out. The 11 will be out very, very soon. Everyone's refreshing their timeline to try and find out. Someone's trolling saying breaking news, Saka starts. It's like, yeah, thanks. Any minute, although Arsenal do like to drop this stuff really late, which is just typical of them. I think they like to wait till everyone's online refreshing. So if any of you get it first, do let us know. Ready for both Pepe's masterclass and Galeno Costa. Costa, of course, very talented goalkeeper. Galeno's a good winger as well. And they've got Pepe in attack and a Pepe at the back. So if they had their own version of the Arteta song, it'd be Pepe in attack, Pepe at the back. Porto gonna win. Never mind. You get it. Come on, Arsenal, give us the 11. We're all waiting. Anyone in the comments? No.
Have Porto dropped theirs?
Not that I can see. People go Timber starts. Imagine. Why do Arsenal do this? Why do they have to release it late, the one time we really need it? Let's have a little look at their official page. No, they're still taking their time, keeping us all waiting. Doesn't make for the best of shows, but oh well.
The tactics and the mind games of scouting.
Hannibal says Mbappe starting. I've just been told production think they've got it, so if they just send it over to me, send in the Discord, they say they think it's an unchanged team. All right. God, I hate Arsenal. Why do they do this to us? Okay, we've got it. Raya in goal. White, Saliba, Gabriel, Kivior. Rice, Erdegaard, Saka, Trossard, Havertz, and Martinelli. It is unchanged from the last 2 games. The 11-0ers away from home.
Makes sense.
Get another chance to add to it.
No, listen, I think that's the way to go. I said earlier, changing a winning, and not just a winning team, a team that's performing so well would appear to be like the logic dictates that that's the way you go, right? So we know that we have players on the bench that can come on and make an impact as well. So, and I'm sure that there will be changes made. And so, yeah, I look forward to it. I think that's the right selection, actually.
ZDT says, did Heritage help Bayern? Players need to be on it. Yeah, absolutely they have to. Samuel says, what we have done recently with Ben White and Verti and Havertz, Trossard playing together just makes the most sense to me. Kivior slots in nicely in the back 3. I agree. Big night for Kivior as well. You know, he's had his sort of run back in the team and he's done well in the Premier League, but Champions League knockouts. And trying to think, if we go through the team, no one's played at this stage, right? I know Gabriel played Champions League football before, but never. Well, did he get to the? Maybe he did get to the knockouts with Lille. I can't remember. Rice certainly hasn't. Erdegaard would have maybe in appearances for Real Madrid. Jorginho for sure won it. Havertz for sure won it. Trossard, unless he did for Genk, he might have. Is that where he came from? I think is that where he went from Genk to Brighton. Then we know Martin and Saka haven't. So yeah, there'll be we'll be looking to Havertz and Jorginho. But really, it's like you said. Like for everything I was saying about Heritage and negotiating 2-legged affairs and Arsenal's troubles in this competition, the big question is, can you guys go and play the football we've done in the last few games? Because if you can, you win this game.
Do we know the Porto, Lou?
Gonna get that up now. Vieira's apparently on the bench. Let's have a little look here. So they've got the 11 there. They should announce the Arsenal bench in just a second. Let me try to get the Porto team. Aha, I've got the official Porto. Aha, there we go. So Diego Costa, João Mario, he's a good fullback. Pepe, Otavio, Vendel, who I think is a left back. Varela, Nico Gonzalez, Francisco, Pepe, Galeno, Evan Nilsson. Look, a lot of players there I recognise, man.
Francisco, that's the manager's son, isn't it?
They've got some good players.
Francisco Conceição.
Oh, we have the bench.
Did you hear
really
that?
Yeah, what? It's the manager's son playing?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Good player, apparently.
So, the subs, Ramsdale, Hind, I'm leaning like this because it's quite far away. Ramsdale, Hind, Smith Rowe, Nketiah. Nketiah's on the bench. Cedric, Jorginho, Fabio Vieira, Nelson, El Neni, Nwaneri, Sweet, and Heaven. There we go. That's your bench. So a couple of youngsters there.
Yeah, it's big for them, yeah.
Yeah, Nwaneri travelling with the squad. But I think you might see Jorginho, Smith Rowe, maybe Nketiah, maybe Vieira.
Yeah, depending on how the game goes, definitely. I think Vieira will probably come back in.
Of course, Vieira coming up against his former club. If he gets an opportunity, so that could be big for him. All right, let's get score predictions, and then we will be, James, be careful with the Don's brother. We're good mates, aren't we? All right, let's get score predictions, and then we'll be live for the watch along in about 40 minutes or so. Turkish, take it away.
I've been saying 3-1, but I feel good, so I'm going to say 4-1.
Wow. Okay.
Done in 1.
Wow, that is done in 1. I'm hoping for goals. I'm really hoping for goals. I'm hoping for a clean sheet as well, but I'm going to go 3-1.
I'm going for a 2-1 win.
Yeah, I'm going 2-1. Although a draw wouldn't surprise me because I do think that Porto. I mean, listen, they're very good at home. Obviously, like 50,000 stadiums about to be packed tonight, and from what I understand, the fans are quite passionate. Get behind them. The Portistas, I think they call themselves. It's a big night for them, and I expect them to respond accordingly. So I'm not expecting it to be a cakewalk. I don't want to sound negative, but I'm just being honest. I'm expecting a hard-fought game, but I do think with that extra bit of quality, we will come out on top. So 2-1.
Kai in the chat says 3-2. Henry says a 5-0 win. Javi's going for a 3-1 win. Frankie says 5-1. Lots of confidence. Meshak says a 4-0 win. A 1-1 from Gaming Zuba. What else have we got? Lots of people thinking Arsenal will get it done. Someone said they're going with a Turkish classic. which I think we all know is a 3-1 win. All right, everyone. Big thanks to you all for joining us. We'll be back live in about just under 40 minutes or so to react to every kick of a ball on the watch along as it happens. Arsenal are back in the round of 16 of the Champions League, but of course, it's been 7 years out of the competition. It's been even longer since we made it past this stage. Will this group of Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Kivior, Rice, Ødegaard, Havertz, Saka, Trossard and Martinelli give us the perfect platform to go and make our first quarter-final appearance since 2010? Let's hope so. Catch you all in a bit.